I'm going to talk about how we reinvented the police department and how we basically approach crime reduction as a business now. And there aren't a lot of law enforcement agencies that do that. Nationwide, usually what happens is if the crime rate goes up, then the chief goes, well, it's beyond our control. You know, there's just not a lot we can do. And then if the crime rate goes down, then they go, we're wonderful. It's all because of what we've been doing out there in the community. So it really hasn't been a lot of science put to crime reduction recently. So 8 years ago when Mayor Ybor came into office, Tampa, unfortunately, was #2 in the nation for a city our size. We were #2 in the nation for crime, behind St. Louis. Is there anybody from St. Louis? St. Louis is still #1, so you may not want to scratch that off your travel plan. And at the time, we were broken down into 2 geographic districts. I was a major of District 2. District 1, in essence, was the west side of the city, and District 2 was east side. Now, just to give you an idea of what I was responsible for, I had from New Tampa until you get wet down in the south end, Palmetto Beach and 6 Mile Creek and everything in between, which included Ybor City, East Tampa, Seminole Heights, North Tampa, Sulphur Springs, Forest Hills, you know, all of that, and it was just too much. It was too much of a geographic area. It was too much as far as crime trends, all of that. So we said we've got to break into smaller areas. So we broke the city down into 3 areas. In essence, the west side of the city is still District 1, and then District 2 is everything north of Hillsborough Avenue, and District 3 is everything south. Now, each of those areas is completely different. They're different in the geographic layout, they're different in their demographics, they're different in crime trends, everything. You talk to the officers in D2 and D3, they call D1 the Champagne district. They say their biggest problem over there is how hot the Starbucks coffee is. So the reality is District 1 has more crime than the other districts, but each district is very, very unique. And as a result, our most dramatic reduction in crime has been in auto theft. We have reduced auto theft in the city of Tampa over 80%. And that's just amazing. And the reason is the kids don't steal cars for sport anymore. And there's nothing that warms my heart more than when I was a major out in District 2, and there were some kids that were stolen or caught in a stolen car in Sulphur Springs, and I go walking back where they were interviewing them, and the one kid was chastising the others. He goes, "I told you you can't steal a car in the city of Tampa." We have what we call the swarm technique. An in-progress call goes out, everybody that's available goes to it. We solve it right then. A good example is a beat-down robbery, where, say in the Sulphur Springs area, somebody beats somebody down, steals their iPod or steals their bike. You're going to solve that right then. What's the point of writing that up and referring it to a detective? They steal somebody's bike, they write it in the neighborhood, go solve. And that's what our officers are doing now. And there's a lot more value in being a police officer at the Tampa Police Department now, because they get to be police officers and not reporters. They see it through from the reporting the crime all the way to putting somebody under arrest. I'll give you a real quick example. We had some auto burglaries on Davis Island. Officer responded, found this woman's purse had been taken, and he says, well, check your credit card, see if they've been used. She said, yeah, one was used at the 7-Eleven right down the street. The officer, reporting officer, goes down, pulls the video from the 7-Eleven to see who used it. He goes back, researches anybody who had been stopped on Davis Island in the hours prior to that, field interviews. Any field interviews have been done. There were 2 of them on individuals that fit the description. He goes, pulls those field interviews, pulls the photographs of them, matches it up to the video, has the suspect's name, makes an arrest, returns all the property to the victim, and the guy gives up his cohort, all before his shift is over. I can 100% guarantee you that never would have been done 8 or 9 years ago. Because I was at an event one night, the social event, and I was bragging about our auto theft reduction, you know, and I was talking about how far we brought it down, and this man in the group goes, oh really? He goes, my car was stolen last night. Well, why don't you go buy everybody a drink while we find your car? And actually it was in District 3 and they found his car that night. But that's the reality. You know, I could tell you all those stats, but if somebody kicked you a door and took your flat screen TV, or somebody took your car, you know, who cares what the crime rate's down to? I'm still a victim of crime. That's what matters to me. And that's what matters to the police officers, the men and women in the Tampa Police Department. is they're out there every day working hard to reduce those number of victims in the city of Tampa this year. So very proud of the officers of the Tampa Police Department. They do an outstanding job. And I say with all sincerity that Tampa Police Department is the best law enforcement agency in the United States.